Hello and welcome back to another session of TAE certification training. Today's session is about the concept of building reuse into your test automation solution, creating a testing infrastructure that is adaptable, scalable, and optimized for maximum efficiency. By the end of this session, you'll have a clear understanding of how to supercharge your testing efforts through strategic reuse. So let's start with what is reuse of a TAS? Reuse of a TAS refers to the reuse of TAS artifacts from any level of its architecture across product lines, product frameworks, product domains, and/or project families. Okay, so for example, let's say you are working for an organization that takes on various software projects for clients across different domains, including e-commerce, healthcare, and finance. So when a new project begins, you review your existing TAS artifacts to identify components that can be reused. For example, the login test cases and UI interaction procedures from your TAS can be applied to any project involving user authentication. Next, we have requirements for reuse result from the relevance of TAS artifacts for the other product variants, products, or projects. Okay, so the decision to reuse TAS artifacts is based on their relevance to the specified project or product variant. For instance, you will not use healthcare related TAS artifacts for a finance project. Next, we have which artifacts are reusable. Okay, so reusable TAS artifacts can include parts of test models of test goals, test scenarios, test components, or test data. So your TAS includes abstract models that outline different testing goals, such as verifying a user registration, payment processing, and order fulfillment. So these models are designed to be adaptable for different projects. Then we have parts of test cases, test data, test procedures, or test libraries themselves. So within your TAS, there is a library of reusable test cases and test procedures for common testing scenarios like login and data validation and UI interaction. The next one is the test engine and/or test report framework. So the TAS is equipped with a test engine that executes test cases and a reporting framework that generates comprehensive test reports. And the last one is the adapters to the SUT components and/or interfaces. So adapters are included to interface with the various SUT components and interfaces, which allows your TAS to interact with different applications and systems. Next, we have role of TAS. While reuse aspects are already settled when the TAA is defined, the TAS can help increase the ability for reuse by following the TAA or revising and updating it whenever needed, documenting the TAS artifacts so that they are easily understood and can be incorporated into new contexts, and ensuring the correctness of any TAS artifact so that the usage in new contexts is supported by its high quality. All right, so in our example of the software organization we spoke about earlier, it enhances the ability for TAS reuse by following and, when necessary, revising the test automation architecture. They also prioritize documentation to make TAS artifacts easily understandable and ensure correctness through quality assurance practices. So this systematic approach supports efficient and consistent TAS reuse in various project contexts. Then we have design for reuse, mainly the responsibility of the TAA. All right, so the primary responsibility for designing and planning for test automation reuse lies with the TAA because it defines the standards and practices for creating reusable test automation components. The next one is focuses on initial planning and design of standardized components and frameworks for reuse. During the initial phases of a project, the TAA concentrates on planning and designing standardized components such as libraries, frameworks, and methodologies with the intention of enabling future reuse. So these components serve as the building blocks for efficient and consistent test automation. Next, we have aims to create a foundation for future reuse of test automation artifacts. So the goal of design for reuse is to establish a strong foundation that allows for the efficient and sustainable reuse of test automation artifacts. This ensures that as testing needs evolve, the organization has a reliable base upon which to build. And the last one is emphasizes establishing guidelines for consistent and efficient test automation. So design for reuse places significant emphasis on setting clear guidelines and best practices to maintain consistency and efficiency in test automation efforts. These guidelines serve as a reference point for teams, ensuring that automation practices align with organizational goals. Next, we have maintenance for reuse, a concern throughout the entire TAS lifecycle. Okay, so maintenance for reuse is an ongoing consideration that spans the entire life cycle of the test automation solution. It encompasses the need to continuously update, improve, and maximize the benefits of existing TAS artifacts. The next point is involves continuous effort to update, improve, and maximize the benefits of existing TAS artifacts. The process of maintaining for reuse requires a consistent and continuous effort to enhance existing TAS artifacts. And this effort includes updates to adapt to changing technology trends, improvements to optimize performance, and maximizing the benefits derived from reusing these artifacts. Then we have requires ongoing consideration to keep TAS components relevant. Okay, so this means that to ensure that TAS components remain effective, they must be kept relevant by considering evolving technologies and changing project requirements. Ongoing consideration is necessary to maintain alignment with the organization's goals. And the last one is involves making reuse happen, measuring the benefits of reuse, and promoting the use of existing TAS artifacts among others in the organization. So maintenance for reuse goes beyond updating the TAS artifacts. It involves actively promoting and encouraging the reuse of existing TAS components among team members and stakeholders. This includes measuring the benefits such as time savings and improved efficiency, and demonstrating the value of reuse to others within the organization. So these principles of design and maintenance for reuse play a critical role in establishing and sustaining efficient and effective test automation practices within an organization. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you found today's session useful. I'll see you in the next session. Until then, happy testing.